infrared light is and what far infrared energy is. And it's like you are a far, Daniel Brinkley, he spoke a couple times these last couple days. He says we are spiritual light beings. Not only that, but you are a far infrared light beings, because that's the invisible light that we all shine. And we shine at 9.4 microns, if you want to know the measurement that humans and mammals and birds, we absorb and we shine that frequency. Pythagoras, a great spiritual teacher and the father of modern mathematics, said that everything vibrates. He also talked about the inner music, the invisible, inaudible music called the music of the spheres. And that's sort of what happened to me. I got connected to this inner music and inner light. And then what does, it propels you and it guides you, and oh my gosh. So, you know, you get this feeling of being guided divinely. And basically when you go into the relaxed sauna, it took me 8 years to find out why it was called the relaxed sauna. I've put 150,000 people in this sauna in the last 22 years, demonstrating at about 500 different expos. Over the years, I've seen 30,000, 40,000 minor or major miracles of people coming out saying, I don't have any pain, I don't have any pain. It gets rid of chronic pain. I tell people at the booth when they go in, we're at booth 407, that's the two big hallways downstairs. It's the one on the left, and we're in the far left corner, And if you go in booth 407 after this workshop is over, you can experience it. A couple of people have already experienced it, and it's a godsend for many, because it really does do magic. See, water is everything vibrates. The chair vibrates, animals vibrate, plants vibrate, minerals, quartz crystals, any kind of crystal will vibrate. That's what Pythagoras said, everything vibrates, because really there is no time and space. And that's my mantra whenever I get into trouble. I just say, okay, there's no time and space. Everything is temporary. There's no beginning, there's no ending. And that's, when you live in the present moment, you get to experience the future and the past all at the same time. And wherever you put your attention, the San Francisco fire in 1906, or wherever you want to be, you can be there. Because there is no time and space. Reincarnation is a very clumsy way of saying everything is happening now. There's because it is, you know, like there is no time and space. In mathematics, we call it order. You know, there's you know, you can have a group or a field, and sometimes they're ordered and sometimes they're not. But, and so past life, you have the past, in the present and the future, but frankly everything's happening at the same time, and actually you can experience a future lifetime before you do a past lifetime, because everything's happening at the same time. And you can go back and talk to 10-year-old you and you know, share with it the wisdom you have now, because anything's possible. Nothing's impossible, because there is no time and space. You have the freedom to do that. When you get into the relaxed sauna, 5 things happen. Well, first of all, you know, the purpose of a far infrared sauna is one. The purpose is you send off an energy, and I mentioned that 8 microns is the vibration of water, 9.4 human. There's a lady who wrote a book called The Science of Far Infrared Therapy. It was written in Japan. I'm still trying to find an English translation of it, but she's quoted all the time, and she says that upon application of the 7 to 14 micron frequency of light, the water molecules will vibrate, which makes sense because water is at 8. If you give it the same frequency, you have a resonating going on. And that vibrates the water, and that weakens the ionic bonds between the hydrogen and the oxygen, and it structures the water, because water usually is, it traps, like heavy metals and poisonous gases are trapped by the water, and when you weaken the bond, it's released, and so you release from the body the heavy metals and the poisonous gases. Now, when you increase you know, when that water does that, what it happens to do, if you imagine 100 people in a small room dancing, it's gonna get hot, real hot. And so your body temperature is gonna increase if all the water molecules in your body are dancing, you could say, the temperature is gonna increase. And then Hippocrates chimes in, you know, he's always giving his 2 cents every time, you know, I talk. And he says, find me a way to create fever and sweat, and I will cure any disease. Now, if only everyone was taught that in 5th grade, that would be amazing. Because, you know, like I read a book that said the 4th cure of cancer is hyperthermia, increasing body temperature. And frankly, poisoning, cutting, and burning aren't really cures. You know, this world is backwards, and once you recognize the world is backwards, you become more free because you quit trying to fight for whatever they tell you in this world is being true, because this is like Bizarro World in Superman comic books. I don't know if any of you are that old where you read Superman comic books, but it was, you know, my favorite thing to read when I was a kid. And Bizarro World was a world where everything was backwards. So, what do they call sickness insurance in this world? They call it health insurance. What do they call death insurance? They call it life insurance. So you start getting the idea that anything in this world, that anything the media says, they say it's, the mainstream media, they say it's true, and frankly, most of it is not. And it's like, I mean, the fact that we've been deceived for all these years is really frustrating, but at the same time, everything happens for a reason, and the goal in life is to become a free soul. We are a free soul, but we have to recognize it. And so there's a journey we sort of like in time and space take. It's not a journey to anything because there's no destination, because we are already there. It's a journey of freedom. And so we are already there, and it's just all these experiences. It says God is not mocked, but we mock up experiences to learn not to be for or against anything, not to believe anything, but just to know. And all there is in the present moment. So when you get into the relaxed sauna, Hippocrates again said, find me a way to create fever and sweat, and I will cure any disease. 5 things happen when you have a fever. And what this does, this increases your body temperature and gives you, quote, a minor fever. Dr. Paul Anderson, a well-known naturopathic doctor, he taught at Bastyr Naturopathic College for 25 years. For the last 10 years, he's been giving about 2 conferences a year. It's called the Applications of Natural Medical Practices or something like that. And he has told us, he gave us a video saying, I can get almost everyone to 101.5, 101.9 temperature, which is about 3 degrees higher than 98.6. Almost every time. He said, this is almost impossible. This is almost unheard of with a sauna. And that's because the relaxed far infrared sauna is not your ordinary infrared sauna, and I'll explain that later. But now, what is far infrared light? Again, it's a frequency of light. Go out into the sun on a hot day, close your eyes. And you can feel that deep, searing heat to the bone. Has anyone experienced that? You feel that really, really, yes. That's what this is, and it's 100% of that frequency of light. You know, like you've got 10, 20, 30, 40 booths downstairs, upstairs on this floor, and upstairs, talking about frequency. It's all in the frequency. Well, the relaxed sauna gives you the correct frequency. And we sent the relaxed sauna, a $1,300 portable sauna, and a $250 Amazon sauna to Harvard MIT Science and Technology Lab. We also sent the relaxed sauna to Polytechnic University in LA. They measured the relaxed sauna for 60 minutes. All of the energy was between 7 and 14 microns, and that's the same frequency that Dr. Yamasaki talked about in her book, The Science of Far Infrared Therapy. The 7 to 14 micron frequency, that's the magical frequency that gets your water molecules to to vibrate, gets the human cells to vibrate, and that increases your body temperature. Now, when you increase body temperature, not only do you increase the body temperature, but that mobilizes the lymphatic system, it creates white blood cells, and that detoxifies your body, and that's really wonderful. That's what you want to do. It's like washing machines. I'm sure you've all heard of a washing machine, and it's really weird. They got this water which is invisible, and they got the clothes that are solid, and you're going to tell me that this invisible water is going to penetrate the solid clothes and cleanse it? No way. But actually it does. The water somehow goes through the clothes, and we call it saturated or wet, we call it wet, and it cleanses every cell of the body, of the fiber. Every fiber of the clothes is cleansed. That's really strange, really weird. What a concept. And so similarly, when you go into the relaxed sauna, the invisible light actually goes through your body, the solid body. It cleanses every cell of the body the same exact way. And it vibrates it. And that cleanses the body and detoxifies it. Not only that, but it increases the circulation. We have a study we did in 2004 comparing 150 relaxed sauna lamp and compared it to a 250 watt Philips near-infrared light bulb. And the relaxed lamp was significantly more able to penetrating the penetration into the human body, the pigs' bodies and the mice bodies, and also to increase the circulation in all three of those, in the mice, the pigs, and the humans. Significantly more than the near-infrared light bulb. It turns out that near-infrared energy is a wonderful energy. They can create lasers of it that can penetrate 9 inches, but the near-infrared light bulbs penetrate 1 to 2 millimeters. It's good for the skin. The far-infrared light of between 7 and 14 microns penetrates 40 to 50 millimeters, 20 to 25 times, 20 to 50 times more than the near-infrared. And it's 1 3/4 to 2 inches. It penetrates into the body, cleanses every cell, talks to the next cell, so your whole body gets cleansed and you feel, oh my gosh, this is great. Now, besides increasing the circulation and lowering blood pressure all the time, always lowers blood pressure. People are really, really impressed. It gets rid of inflammation and pain. And when I'm down at the booth, when people are walking by, I say, this feels like your grandma's giving you a nice loving hug, a warm loving hug. It feels like you're almost basking in divine love, or a stepped-down version of it. It feels like you're on the beach in Hawaii, or it feels like you're in the presence of a Qigong master, a great guru, or a being giving you unconditional love, like a grandma. And so, but certainly spiritual, teachers, they emanate a certain vibration, and you feel really, really comfortable. And the commonality of all those 4 things is unconditional love. And the reason it's unconditional because it's absorbed into the body and it penetrates, and you don't resist it. You don't resist it because it's the same frequency as you. Sunburn and suntan, ultraviolet is a light that comes from the sun, and we resist it because it's so foreign to us, and that can cause friction and suntan and sunburn. Now, what Dr. Yamasaki says in her book is that that the far infrared light antidotes the negative effects of microwave EMF. So I tell people, if you've ever been exposed to EMF and you have damage to your cells, you get the relaxed sauna, the far infrared light, according to Dr. Yamasaki, antidotes the damage. She also said that far infrared light antidotes sunburn. So the last thing a person would want to do when they come by my booth with sunburn pain of 7 or 8 is go into here. And I say, do it. It will take that pain down to a 1 or a 0 all 7, 8 times I've tried it. Absolutely. And it's the last thing people would expect. And I know one lady said, well, I have a sunburn pain, but my boyfriend, we want to go. And I said, no. And he listened to my story, says, do it. And she did it, and her pain was gone. It's really remarkable. Now, the third thing, okay, I told you the first two, far infrared energy, or having a fever. Number one, it detoxifies you. Number two, it increases circulation and lowers blood pressure, getting rid of inflammation and pain. Number three, it floods your body with oxygen, and the oxygen kills the anaerobic bacteria and a lot of times the parasites. Number four, and the relaxed sauna is actually way, way different than any of the other saunas, but this it's called the relaxed sauna. Really weird. I'm in Atlanta about 15 years ago. I'd been promoting the relaxed sauna for about 8 years, and this one lady came out and said, "How do you feel?" She said, "Relaxed." 8 minutes later, the next lady came out, "How do you feel?" "Relaxed." And then still, I didn't get it yet. The next lady, you go in for 5 to 8 minutes, "How do you feel?" "Relaxed." I said, "Oh my gosh, that's why they call it the relaxed sauna." You know, a lot of times we don't realize things. Like I was meditating many, many years ago, 1997 as a matter of fact, and I was trying to find a name for my new company, and so I was meditating, and I came back, and I was outside of my body in my house, and I watched the word transformation, which is what I was trying to find for a name for my company, go, and it just went into the heart of creation, and next thing I'm in my body, and my third eye is wide open, and I'm looking at this beautiful lake, just gorgeous. In the middle of it is a volcano-like structure, which I later learned was a serpent mound. And and all of a sudden I'm just looking, gazing at it, and all of a sudden out pops a little lottery ball with the word momentum on it. I said, "Oh, momentum, what a mundane word. I've got an Aquarius moon, Aquarius rising, that's boring." And then when I said that to myself, they said, "Taking advantage of the moment." I said, "Wow, I never realized that momentum came from the word moment." And that was like, wow. And I said, okay, I accepted the fact that's my new company name, Momentum. That's the name of my health food store in Columbus, Ohio, that I've had for 45 years. And so then I was imagining my stationery, and I said, okay, like there's a Wendy's commercial where the lady says, "Where's the beef?" It means there's something missing. And so, I said, okay, it's flat. And then all of a sudden they said, "Propelling yourself into greatness." I said, wow, that's impressive. And then as soon as they said that, and I acknowledged it, that my third eye closed and I was in darkness. So eventually I got up, found a database, wrote it down in. It took me about 10 days to find I couldn't remember what that phrase was. But momentum, taking advantage of the moment, propelling yourself into greatness. That's almost like a how-to practice the presence of God. It's really amazing. And the key to this is discovering the difference between living in the moment and what's that other word? Taking advantage of the moment. Taking advantage of the moment means you are living in the moment and you are vigilant. You are listening. You are listening to your heartbeat. You are listening. And so when the next wave comes by, because you're listening, you step in front of it and it propels you into greatness. And that's how it works. And that's life. It's like all life is learning how to surf the cosmic waves within your beingness, and it will guide you to wherever you need to go to get the experiences you need to go through to become free. And sometimes it's shit. Sometimes it ain't fun. But that's something I've learned. I just even like a couple weeks ago, I said, okay, I realized that I do not accept drudgery in my life. I do not accept drudgery. You go in here, you do not feel drudgery. You feel great. Now, drudgery has an antidote. And the antidote is twofold. It's exercise and it's having fun. So when you walk downstairs and and you're ready to go out the door in the morning and you realize you forgot something, I used to now, but then I finally learned I'm going to go into exercise mode. And I run up the stairs and consider it as part of my daily exercise.
and then I come back down and but the thing is having fun. That's the key. Anytime you think you're experiencing drudgery, and I used to do a lot of that as a kid, if only I knew that there's a light switch and you switch it on to having fun. And you want to take risks, and risks is really, really important, because if you don't take a risk, you're stuck with a law of inertia. Did you know that there's a law of inertia and the law of momentum? And the most negative law in the universe is the law of inertia. The law of momentum says that we'll always conquer the law of inertia. How do I know that? Because I was once in 7th grade and very scientifically oriented and playing chess. I was president of my chess club. And when people said, what happens when an irresistible force meets an immovable object? And everyone says it's a stalemate, but it ain't. Because there's a spark of the divine in every immovable object, in every stubborn being that wants to be free. So the irresistible force will always hook onto that part of the divine in every immovable object, and will get, eventually the mineral will become a plant and it will move. And eventually the plant will lose its roots and will be able to move like an animal. And there's a great poem, one of my favorite, by Rumi. I died as a mineral and I became a plant. I rose to animal and then I became a human. What makes me ever think I've become less by dying? Air till I become angel blessed, and air till I not exist, or something like that. So that's really, really important to know, that the law of inertia is the most negative law in the world. So what happens when you get in the relaxed sauna? You get this vitalizing energy that resonates with your water molecules, and it excites and sparks you. And that raises your body temperature, increases the circulation, floods your body with oxygen number 3, and that kills all the anaerobic bacteria and parasites. And number 4, the most important part, I think, is it relaxes you by getting you into the present moment, by activating the parasympathetic nervous system. And that is key. Because my quasi-definition of time, of pain, is the awareness of time. Have you ever hurried? It's painful. Have you ever worried? Have you ever waited? Painful activities. Now, this thing about worrying, I have a hero when I was a kid. His name was Alfred E. Newman. Did you ever read Mad Magazine?
Yes.
Yes, and he said, what? Me worry? That's the silliest thing I can imagine doing. Because you become locked into time instead of being in the present moment and knowing, damn it, my life is guided, and if it happens, it's just an experience. I like it when Daniel Brinkley says, well, what's the worst thing can happen? It can kill you. Great, he's died 4 times. You can't die. The body dies, but you can't, because you're indestructible and you've always existed. And once you experience that, you're free. And everything else is just, just following out the whatever. But you live in the present moment. And incidentally, in the Conversations with God book by Neil Donald Walsh, it says you can't ever have what you want. That sounds terrible, but it's great. Now, the reason you can't have what you want is because, like I said, the name of my book is Pictures of the Mind, because you're picturing yourself not having, and you give it passion. And so that's what you get, not having it. That's why you can't get what you want. And even the 91st Psalm says, thou shalt not want, or I shall not want. Wanting is, you don't want to want, you just want to know that you've decreed it. So it's your destiny, and you give it passion, and then you just do what you need to do, and eventually it hits you in the back, and you're living it. So you're living the dream fulfilled. You're not looking at a puppy in a cage in a window. You're actually imagining the puppy kissing you and hugging you and loving you while you're holding it. And that's what you know. So you become grateful for having what you think you don't have. So whatever you want, you just be grateful for having it. And then it's just a question of time. Remember that there's a book by Paul Twitchell called The Talons of Time. And you know what the evil ones of the book are called? The time makers. Those are the evil ones. And the name of the book, The Talons of Time. Boy, time can destroy you unless you laugh at it and realize it's not real. Time is not real. Everything is yours now. So when you activate the parasympathetic system, you get outside of time, and therefore your mind cannot interfere with you because you're outside of time. You're in the moment. And that's the beauty of being in the moment, and that's when the body can heal. When you go to sleep at night, your mind gets out of the way and you can heal because you're surrendering to the divine by not participating in mental gibberish, you know. But the fifth thing that happens when you increase body temperature is the mitochondria in your body, the energy making of cells of the body, are activating because since you're in the moment and there's no mental, neurotic caffeine energy, you start creating real energy. And the mitochondria starts creating ATP and nitric oxide, and you feel revitalized. So there's a detox specialist in Las Vegas. She bought a sauna. She said that $1,300 sauna is the best. And I said, well, get in the relaxed sauna. She got in the relaxed sauna. I said, oh my God, a world of difference. Bought the relaxed sauna. A year later, I was delivering a sauna to her because she started selling them to her patients, her clients. And she said, she gave me a 6-minute interview and said, all saunas are different. They all have different vibration rates. They're different. And so I gave my $1,300 sauna away and my higher dose blanket away because they left me de-energized and they didn't detoxify me as much as the relaxed sauna, which detoxified me, oh my God. But more importantly, I felt revitalized. And she says, I'm getting too old to have to deal with not being revitalized. So there is a big difference between all the infrared saunas, and that's part of whenever I talk about saunas, I talk about the benefits of far infrared light, what Dr. Yamasaki said, and there's so much literature. There's this book is written by a lady. She'd been using the relaxed sauna for 2 years. She makes far infrared jewelry that her boyfriend finds a way to put far infrared energy in the jewelry, and she sells it. And she just started putting her head in the sauna, and she says, oh my gosh, my hair is growing like crazy, before it was out. So this is, we're pro-choice. We give you the choice to put your head in or out, and those wooden saunas do not do that. How dare they? But it's life. Some people are more understanding and accept you more, and they allow you to do things, and some don't. But anyway, there's about 150 research articles on far infrared saunas and far infrared energy that she annotates in this book. And she actually mentions the relaxed sauna in this book about 3 times. This man is Dr. Bill Akpenar. He's a cancer doctor. He uses ozone therapy. He is a Qigong master. He's a Chinese medical doctor and an acupuncturist, and he's a medical doctor. And he's been recommending the relaxed sauna for about 15, 17 years. You can get this on Amazon, otherwise it's out of print.
Great title.
Yeah, I like that. No sweat, no sweat. That means once you understand that sweat is your teacher and your healer, life is no sweat. No sweat at all. And this is an interesting book. This is called Gastrogirl. Now this lady owns a colonic clinic in Portland, Oregon, and she owns a hyperbaric oxygen chamber clinic in New Mexico. And this is something she made about all her wisdom about castor oil, rebounding, backswings, far infrared energy, and so much more. And she shares it with her clients. And so she says in this book, she's got about 14 pages or about 20 pages on far infrared energy, She has a chapter saying if you want to feel fantastic in the 21st century, a far infrared sauna is a must.
It's a must.
See, the wooden Finnish saunas in the 60s were great, and they did everything that needed to be done. Like, this is a history of saunas. The Greek, the Romans, the Turks, the Russians, the Amazon Indians, the American Indians had the sweat lodges, the Turkish baths, the Russian sweats, the Finns. There are more saunas in Finland than I understand there are Finns. So I've read. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if anything is true. I don't even believe in belief anymore. One thing I do, there's nothing I believe, and there's nothing I'm not willing to believe. And that allows me to become free, because if you're fixated, like for, against, or for, you're dead. You're finished. But anyway, we sent the relaxed sauna and those two other saunas, remember, to Harvard MIT Science and Technology Lab. They came back with a report on the relaxed sauna. It's all between 7 and 14 microns, all of it. Again, that's the loving light that Dr. Yamasaki talked about. The $1,300 sauna, we were shocked. 1.2 to 6 microns was the frequency. 8% far infrared ray, 37% mid, which you don't know what that is, 55% near. It's the frequencies in between red and far infrared ray. The near infrared is closer to the visible light, and the mid is in between, and the far is further from the visible light of the infrared. And that goes up to 1,000, but 4 to 14 is the magical frequency. And then when you go above 1,000, they call it microwave. Did you know that this is a microwave device? Yeah, I learned that a couple years ago. I didn't know that. It's just, but this is that horrible energy that causes havoc in your world. If you don't carry a cell phone, the Wi-Fi in the building will do the same amount of damage to you. It's minor, but if it builds up, just like aluminum and mercury and fluoride, if they build up in your body, it causes problems. I think we just, an angel just got its wings. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That means we just sold a sauna.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah.
But anyway, could have been downstairs, could have been online. Remember, we're booth 407 downstairs. That's in the far left corner. You go in for 5 to 7 minutes. And if you're nice to us and you haven't sweated yet, we put on for another 5-7 minutes, and you can get the catharsis. And that's when, if you were a fly on the wall while I'm in front of the sauna and you're in the sauna, and if you were a fly on the wall hearing all the comments that people say to me of the 30,000, 40,000 minor and major miracles, in a heartbeat you would buy a relaxed sauna, no matter whether you had money or not. Like there's a lady in Detroit at the conference there. She got a flu shot about 13 years ago, and she's had shooting pain in her feet ever since. It's strange, but that's what happens when you put something that doesn't belong in the body in our body. Anyway, in 10 minutes, all her pain was gone.
Mm.
A month and a half later, she didn't need a wheelchair anymore.
Mm.
These are the kind of stories. In New Mexico, in Albuquerque, at the technology or extraordinary technology conference, 2 experiences. One guy 2 years ago, he had sciatica pain of a 7 to 8 constantly for 6.5 weeks. And finally, on the 3rd day, he said, "Okay, I'll get in the sauna." He sweated. We tell people you won't sweat, but people sometimes choose to sweat. So he sweated, and he was in there for 15 minutes. And then he got out. I felt like he was saying, "Look, Ma, no hands." He was jumping up and down and said, "Look, no pain, no pain." If I were a multimillionaire, I'd buy one of these for every single old age home in the world.
Mm.
But then he got a little cocky, being able to have freedom finally, and he hurt himself a little bit. He got in the next day and it was all gone again. And so these are the kind of miracles that happen. We had two different individuals, nurses, who didn't know enough back then. They believed, they were deceived because they believed. I'm a poet and I know it. And what happened is that she got that shot, that vac shot, and so did her friend, and they were injured instantly. And for 2.5 years, the one lady didn't have feeling in her fingers, and 5 or 10 minutes in the relaxed sauna, she had feeling. The other lady, she says, I could not feel the circulation between my foot and my hip, and after 10 minutes, I felt the circulation. They both gave me testimonies on it, and so did another lady. But these are the kind of things. Now, we've got 5 cancer clinics to sell the relaxed sauna. If you go to our YouTube channel, and just put youtube.com and put in relaxed sauna testimonials, and then go to the relaxed sauna page, that little circle. You click on it, and then you go to videos, and you put in Lyme, Lyme. There's about 20 video testimonies on people who don't have Lyme symptoms anymore. If you put in chronic pain, you'll get a whole bunch of people. If you put comparing saunas, we've got about 100 testimonies of people who've been in all sorts of wooden saunas, portable saunas, other saunas, Finnish saunas, and they say, this is by far, the energy in here is totally different. I was surprised. I couldn't believe how good I felt. It's like, one lady's heart chakra opened up. That was in British Columbia about 8-9 years ago. So what the people at MIT, Harvard Science and Technology Lab also told us is that that 1300 sauna was 1.2 to 6 microns. The Amazon sauna was 0.95 to 1.32 microns. 100% near, 100% near. But she said that the relaxed sauna had 3.5 and 4.5 times the penetration potency, the penetration intensity, and more therapeutic value than either of those 2 saunas. And so, when you look at the relaxed sauna and realize it's 100% far infrared ray, it's 1400 watts, and then you look at a wooden sauna that's 1,000 watts or 900 watts, and maybe is 50% at the most far infrared ray, or 20% or 30%. And also you see the relaxed sauna uses a very, very interesting principle of light. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called reflection. It means when light hits a mirror, it bounces. You ever hear that principle? Yeah, it's a very interesting principle. So we use it. But you say, yeah, but the far infrared energy is invisible. Well, it still works. I don't know why, but when I go in there, and anyone who goes in there, they can feel from their back. And the whole tent acts as a light box, an invisible light box. And the relaxed sauna, I don't know if you knew this, but we're the only infrared sauna which is endorsed by snakes. Yes, truly. 26-minute interview of 2 snakes who got on the relaxed sauna with their animal communicator, of course. And they said, this is way better than the light in their cage, way better. And they could see the far infrared light, and they described what it is. It's a 26-minute video on our YouTube channel. Maybe if you put in snakes, we haven't had any dogs, but we've got, my let's see.
Serenity goes in every day.
Yes, yeah.
Every day when I'm in there, she'll go like this and brush against it. My time.
That's right.
And she goes right next to the side of me, and then we leave it open so she hops out when she has enough.
Yeah, I had a schnauzer called Danny,
Yeah.
and my ex-wife would get in the sauna.
Until it goes in every day.
And they would do this exactly.
Yeah, I want to get in.
Walk in and sit on the floor for 10 minutes, and then it would do this again, and my wife would let it out.
Huh.
And when it seemed, it was like before, it almost died, and the relaxed sauna put it to life again.
Yeah.
And I had a Chihuahua puppy. One of them died, but the other one, we used a little relaxed sauna lamp on it, and it survived.
Yeah, see?
So, the far infrared energy
Saving
is
animals,
quite impressive. Like I think I mentioned, we have 5 or 6 cancer clinics that sell the relaxed sauna and promote it to their patients. And, it's just really funny, that $1,300 sauna, by the way, was a full spectrum, low EMF sauna, and Harvard MIT Science and Technology Lab said we had 1/12 the EMF that they had. I mean, they had 1/15 the EMF of the Amazon sauna, but again, as Peter Rosati or something like that said, who's been doing psychotronics for about 20, 30 years, he's had his relaxed sauna for 16 years. He said, this is 100 times more dangerous
Yes.
than the EMF coming from any household appliance. So it's the fear of EMF is actually 100 times more dangerous than the EMF itself. Just imagine you're in the Harry Potter set and someone says Voldemort. You know, I mean, people get scared. So, you know, when I'm in a booth, say, I don't want any EMF in my sauna. You know, it's like, you know, it's like household appliances that they're like, and we have 4 people in Southern California and Phoenix who go into houses making them EMF safe, who all own relaxed saunas themselves. So the EMF concern is really, should not be an issue, and is not. So, I'm just curious, the time, 5:03,
We're at
okay.
50 minutes. Yeah.
So,
Hey Phil, would you like me to demonstrate how easy it is to get in and out?
yeah, go ahead and do that. You have a story to tell, don't you?
I sure do.
Okay, this is Ray. It's like sunshine, it's a ray
I mean,
of
we can all,
light.
yeah, we can
Yeah.
all get up and do
Our
some
infrared
testimonials
ray.
for you.
Nice
Yeah.
shoes, Ray.
Oh, thank you.
I wish the dog can talk and tell
I
you.
have one in my living room and I use it every day. It was part of my healing.
I mean, you can let people know that you can take it to Yosemite, you plug it by the bathroom.
Yeah, it's always in my hotel room.
It's always,
in
yeah,
a
people-
suitcase.
yeah.
I have a 21-inch wide, 28-inch suitcase, a Samsonite, but you can get other kinds, and it fits in there. The 19-inch, 28-inch won't fit, the chair won't fit, but the sauna will. And you can just use one of these chairs.
Yeah, when you're in your hotel room.
You don't
yeah.
need to bring your chair with
And
you.
both generators on each side, so you'll put your feet up like I'm doing right here, so you get the circulation. But you want to pull this zipper up all the way, which is a nice.
If you're 8 foot tall or 6 foot tall, you don't have to put your feet on the pedestals.
I'd be
That's
glad to
for
show the
short women.
testimonial of me inside
Yeah.
their Indian style, yeah.
So what do you have to say, Ray?
Well, what I have to say is, in October, and I'll get a little emotional about this. In October of late October of 2023, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer,
I'm sorry to hear that.
and I've been healthy my entire life, and did everything right. But when you get into your 50s, 60s, and 70s, 1 in 5 men will have some type of problem with their prostate. Doesn't matter what you do, it's not hereditary, it's just something that happens with men as they get older. So I started my own protocol, my own health regime, because when you go through the healthcare system, it took months before I even got to my first treatment at City of Hope. So I started my own treatment with vitamins, minerals, supplements, prostate support. I got a hydrogen bottle, and I had hydrogen water every day. And I was able to get my oxygen level up to 100% in just a few months. But I was also using the relaxed sauna, as part of my treatment. By the time I got to City of Hope and went through their treatment, which was 6 weeks long, I was still doing my treatment. By the time I got to the end of the treatment, then I came back 3 months later, and I took my PSA level from 6.4 all the way down to 0.04. Now, the doctors at City of Hope all came into the room. They were really curious how I did that so quickly. So then they started taking notes, and I told them everything that I did along the way. I said I started my own healing process, and I had used meditation and prayer as well, which is very important. And they just said, someone your age, we've never seen anyone take their PSA level down that low that fast. So I was actually giving them a little bit of
Yeah.
a little bit of a lesson as well, and it made me feel good because I went in. I'm in 100% remission now. I use this every day. I meditate in this. I pray in this as well, and I asked my Creator to give me a second chance. I said, if you do, you can use me as your servant, even more than I ever have dreamed of serving. And let me live, because I have a lot of life left in me. And I have so much to share with my music and my art and my poetry and my healing. I've worked in the healing business for many, many years prior to meeting Phil, and I worked for a natural foods company, and I've always been healthy. But I had to experience something like the prostate cancer to take me to another spiritual level, is what it did. It took me to another level that I thought I'd never dream of going. And it's like I have a new lease on life and a new mission. So never think that you know that you don't have a true mission in life. You do every day, like Phil talks about it. Every day you live, you have something to live for. You have something to dream about. You have something to accomplish. And I felt that doing all of this in my protocol and my healing is all taking me to another level. And I'm just so happy to be here. I was so happy to meet this gentleman and even work for him a couple of times. And I have a new life now. I really have a new life, and I'm so happy.
Congratulations.
And I wish it was plugged in.
Yeah, I know, right? You missed
I
5
know, I'm
minutes
going
worth
in
of.
now.
Yeah.
So good.
Thank you, Phil.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your generosity in sharing.
Yeah, you're just this is a wonderful human being right here.
Now, I wanted to mention 2 things
Any
right now
questions?
about far infrared energy. Most people don't understand how in the world turtle eggs can hatch, because they're in the sand 2 inches below. It's cold down there. Chickens, cheat. They lay on the eggs. But turtles, in their great wisdom, have an arrangement with the sun. The far infrared light from the sun goes through the sand 2 inches and resonates with the water in turtle eggs, activating the turtle embryo to grow into a turtle. And that's why turtle eggs can hatch. And snakes and lizards have the same relationship with the sun. They lay the eggs 2 eggs, so they're protected from predators, and the sunlight, the far infrared light, goes through. Now, there are many, many, many other energy devices. You've got the Rife machine, you have ozone, you have hyperbaric oxygen chambers. There's a guy in Idaho. I go to the cryotherapy conferences, the ozone conferences, the hyperbaric oxygen therapy, the natural medicine, the medical doctors, the nutritional doctors, the massage therapists, the colon therapists. I go to all these conferences, and there's a hyperbaric oxygen clinic in Idaho where he orders about 15 saunas from us every 2 months, and he has sold about 300 relaxed saunas to his clients. So when I go to one of these other conferences on micro current technology or whatever, or PEMF, I honor them. I say, okay, you've got Batman there because you're promoting it. It's your baby. The relaxed sauna's Robin. They work really, really well together. And so, just like an athlete or a trainer, we've got the Dodgers who won the World Series. We're using the relaxed sauna for the last 3 years. They called us up. Can you send it to our hotel when we're playing the Mets for the National League Championship? Got a picture of Gavin Lux in the sauna at Citi Field. Before that, 2 years earlier, University of Georgia, they won the national championship for college football, and 5 or 6 of their sports are all using the relaxed sauna. We've got many athletes. Gerald downstairs at our booth, he had done 75 chin-ups one day, and he couldn't move his hand. It got stuck. And we were at a hyperbaric oxygen chamber conference in Costa Mesa about 5 years ago, and we got him in the sauna in 15 minutes or 10 minutes. All of a sudden, he could move it again. And these are the kind of things that happen. There's a famous doctor, Dr. Klinghardt. He's the one that introduced the dangers of microwave EMF to the Western world. And his partner was at a conference along with him at an autism show, and they took the sauna up to the hotel room, and her elbow pain, she'd had it for a year,
Wow.
gone in one session.
Amazing.
Now, this doctor is one of the most famous doctors in the United States in terms of holistic medicine. He's got access to all the energy medicine devices out there. and nothing would help her. I ran into one of his friends who said, I tried this thing on it and it didn't work. But Dr. Robert O. Young wrote the pH Miracle, the book on pH, the importance of it. He wrote about 4 books on that. He's been using saunas for 35, 40 years. Which one does he use now? He's got $20,000, $30,000 saunas. But what does he use? For the last 8, 9 years, he's been using the Relax sauna. And he's given me two testimonials on it. Now, there's a lady named Dr. Annette Bosworth. She's called Dr. Boz. She's in Florida. We met her at the Keto conference, and she talks about the keto diet. About 4 years ago, she bought a sauna from us, and last year, one of my people was there and setting up the booth, and he arranged an interview with me and her. She's got 850,000 followers. 50,000 people watched the 48-minute interview of her and me. She got 1,900 likes, and she sold 480 saunas in the
Wow.
last 5 months. And so, you know, the Relax sauna is good. And she went on and saying, hey, I had a steam sauna, I had wooden saunas, I've got all sorts of other saunas, and we've got, you know, about 20, we've got a website is Relax Saunas, with an s.com, relaxsaunas, plural.com. And we have about 20 or 30 interviews that I've done in the last, since 2007, 2009. But a lot interviewed recently, and there's a lot of good information on it, which I've told a lot of it today. Sometimes there's more stuff. And we also have about 15, 20 talks, relaxsaunas.com interviews, relaxsaunas.com talks. But just go to the website, relaxsaunas.com, and experiment. Yes?
Does anyone have questions maybe before we?
Yeah, do we have questions? Do you have a question at all?
Do you want to explain all the different
Okay.
lamps you have also? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready for your
Okay.
question.
Have you had anyone experience or use it for like to enhance or heal fertility?
Yes.
Okay.
That's, we find that the Relax sauna, see, again, gets the circulation going.
Mm-hmm.
And so it turns out, you know, we don't have many stories, you know, but we know, I mean, you know, when Dr. Christiane Northrup bought a sauna from us, and she wrote the book, Women of Menopause, The Wisdom of Menopause. I was hoping 2 weeks later she'd call me and said, I found a cure for menopause, but she didn't call me. But yeah, fertility is, you know, because that's one of the damages if you get that back shot. You know, I mean, it just wreaks havoc, and a lot of people have trouble conceiving. But I would venture to say, you know, I mean, you know, if you get a sauna and it doesn't help you become fertile, well, you can return it after 30 days for a full refund. But I would think, I mean, I don't remember any particular incidents, but I know people have hinted at it, that they did get pregnant after they get the sauna. So I would highly recommend it and say it's not gonna hurt at all. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a benefit. Yes, do you have a question, anyone?
Yeah, how often do we want to do that sauna? And how long?
Well, you know, I met this lady, Wendy, who bought us saunas from us 3 years ago. She does it for 20 minutes at night, 20 minutes every night, and she does it about 10 minutes every morning. And what's nice about the Relax sauna that other saunas can't do is you can do a 5 to 7 minute treatment with your clothes on and get rid of half your pain, 50% to 100% of your pain every time without sweating. And then what I recommend is a 22 minutes, 18 to 22 minutes for complete sweat. Many athletes will go in 5 to 7 minutes before a workout, and that way they don't have to stretch and all that. And then after the workout, they do a 20 to 30 minute complete sweat. If you're really an athlete, you know, like super, you can do 30, 40, 50 an hour and stretch yourself, but usually 20 minutes will give you a profuse sweat. I do 20 minutes every morning. Sometimes I get out, drink some water. It's always good to drink 8 ounces of water before. So one of the only contraindications of foreign saunas is you sweat so much, you get dehydrated. So you always wanna make sure you drink water before, and I'll just wanna drink water afterwards. And on spa day for Phil, I'll do it for 20 minutes, get out, drink some water, get in for 20 minutes, get out, drink some water, and do a third 20 minutes, and then get out. And I feel like I've been at the spa for 9 hours. I mean, it really is very therapeutic. I'd say about half the time I do 2 20-minute sessions, and half the time I do a 20-minute session only. And then I have to figure out, you know, the other half, the third half, I'll just do it for 5 to 7 or 8, 9, 10 minutes until I just start to sweat because I gotta go someplace.
Recently I went to one where you get into the booth,
Yes,
so almost like an hour and a half later, something came out of my face, like it looked like a pimple,
yeah.
you know, and then the next day another thing came from my nose.
They're very, very detoxifying. Look, the microphone's finally working.
And how does this compare to those type of units? Because I know
Well-
they were saying that you gotta get to 150, they said you gotta be 150.
Well, see, again, on the finished saunas, maybe, but see, it's not the heat that does the healing, it's the light. It's the frequency of light, it's all the frequencies. So many booths here talk about the light frequency. See, what you do is the frequency increases, resonates with your water molecules, shakes up the molecules. Like 100 people in a smaller dance is gonna get hot. So your body temperature gets hot. That's the key. And so, Rhonda Patrick and Andrew Huberman talk about you gotta get to 186 to 212 degrees. It creates heat shock proteins. This at 140, 150 degrees will increase your body temperature more than any Finnish sauna, and that you have to do an hour, and you have to be extreme athlete to be able to handle the endurance. But at 140, 150 comfortably, you'll be able to get better results with heat shock proteins than any Finnish sauna, because the sweat from a Finnish sauna is about 2% of that sweat is toxins. In a far-infrared sauna, about 17%. It's so much thicker than water. Is about 17% of the sweat is actually toxins. And I was laying out in the sun about 8 years ago in August, and I said, wow, that sweat is so watery, because I hadn't sweated out in the sun in a long time. But the sweat coming out of here is really,
Yeah.
really thick with toxins.
Interesting, and you said there's light in there?
It's invisible, but yes, it's light. It's an energy, and it's reflected by the mirror, the tent, and so you're in the middle of a light box.
Okay, because I've seen those with the black panels in those infrared saunas. But,
Yep.
But I figured it's just the heat, it's just pushing out heat, no light.
Well, again, the black panels, you know, have light, but again, as I explained, we sent 3 saunas to Harvard and MIT Science and Technology Lab, and only 8% of the $1,300 portable sauna was far infrared light. And near infrared light only penetrates, and see, the near infrared penetrates about 1 to 2 millimeters and affects the protein. It doesn't affect the water molecules at all, and everything is water. Everything's about water in this world. We can cleanse the water, to purify the water. There's Dr. Gerald Pollack talks about far infrared ray and he says there's something called exclusion water, easy zone water, and the far infrared light expands it more than any other. It's a 4th phase of water. It's a gel-like substance. He said the far infrared light, it's responsible for photosynthesis and gives the plants the power to move and to bend.
I have a question. Do you have any studies on like shifting the physiology for the mental health industry? People with, shifting the physiology?
There's a lady who at a mental health conference we went to, she and her husband at that time, they sold it, they had an $8,000 wooden infrared sauna. She came down